What's up? Welcome in Day 3 Radio Row CHGO. How we feeling today? We
Feel
good?
I feel
we good?
We energized?
A little tired? Media party last night?
We got Geoff Schwartz sitting
we're
next
ready
to
to go.
us. I went to bed last night. Everybody else stayed up and partied till 4 in the morning. I don't know who I'm hanging out with.
It was not us.
You guys, it was definitely Nick.
I'm here though. I made it.
Man, looks good. There's fresh and ready.
We're here. We're presented by DraftKings. Make sure you're using code CHGO when you sign up with America's top-rated sportsbook. Geoff Schwartz is here. Geoff, I just want to start this by thanking you. I developed a routine this year during the college football season where I'd wake up on Saturday morning, and the first thing I would do is check your Twitter account to see your awesome whiteboard picks for the Pac-12.
Very good.
And you helped me so much this year.
Yeah, gambling is very hard, and most of us do not pick winners, believe it or not, except me in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I picked winners. I was like over 60% for the last 3 years in Pac-12. And the reason why is because it's my full-time job. I cover the Pac-12 for a living, and they always say that if you want to make money in gambling, you have to stick to like a niche, right? Like you're not going to make money in the NFL. It's too hard. Too many people gamble in the NFL. There's too many variables. Like the lines are too sharp. But I cover the Pac-12 for a living. Like the lines are not good all the time. And because of that, that's how I come up with, I think, a lot of winners in the Pac-12. 3 years now running.
I mean,
Oregon Duck.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
I don't really bet on the Oregon, though. That's the thing. I just try not to. I try not to bet on that.
But every week you'd have like 3 games that you just felt like were.
Oh, yeah.
Like and then you put some more, and you're like, I would lean towards this, but I'm not all the way in.
Oh yeah, I'll lean every now and then. But I heard if I come on this show and say Justin Fields is really good, everyone listen to my podcast.
Yes.
So
which is called
Geoff Schwartz is smarter than you.
See,
we also put those picks on there as well.
Right.
So Justin Fields is really good. Everyone, listen to the podcast.
It's just a great promo.
Is there any part of you that actually believes that? I know that you're not exactly watching Bears football every single day because the Bears went 3-14 and they weren't at the top of the NFL, and you got 7 zillion things going on.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I did not watch much Bears football this year. I cover college football, as I mentioned, and the NFL. So I just try to watch good football as much as possible. I did bet on the Bears a lot when they were at home. Like it's good wager every now and then. I think for Fields, we just got to see the development in the passing game, right? Like we know he's a great athlete, and I don't know why anyone would doubt he can. Here's the thing. I used to be one of those guys that was like, Josh Allen's never going to get better. And then he got better, right? Like, it's just, he's the outlier, right? And he's changed everything. I thought, even like Lamar Jackson, I thought to myself, he's never going to be the player that he was. And these guys just improve so much now in a way that almost never happened in the past. And I think it's hard to always say, like, no one's going to be good anymore because the game has changed, too, where using your legs now is so important in having success that when you have an athlete like Fields, we know he can do that part now, right? We've seen him make some of the throws. Now it's just being developed as a passer. And so there's no doubt I think he has the talent to do that. It's now up to him and the coaching staff to put him in the right spot to make that jump. So I'm done saying like no one's going to be good anymore. Now I can make a proclamation like I don't think your quarterback's good enough to win you a Super Bowl. Sure, but like is he going to be terrible? No, I think he's going to be a good quarterback eventually.
And just to reset the show just a little bit, Geoff Schwartz, near decade-long career, 7th-round pick, Carolina Panthers. You played right tackle, you played right guard. We've got guys moving all over the Bears' offensive line. Tevin Jenkins was a 2nd-round pick who was supposed to be a stud tackle. Then they moved him inside because it's long enough. I don't know how you would break down how difficult it is to move around the offensive line and finally find your spot where you could have success in the league. Yeah,
so I played right tackle and then I moved into right guard. I was better at guard. I think if you're too slow to play tackle like I was. Like I wasn't quick enough to play tackle. But your hands are good. That was never my problem. You can go inside and play guard, right? Because there's less movement there as much, but your hands are still good. If you have really bad hands at tackle, you're going to have bad hands at guard too. And so going inside doesn't really change anything. So for me, like I was able to go inside, less movement, but still use my hands. So that's how the change can be made, I think, in a better way. So if your arms are not long enough, maybe that's the reason why you're not a tackle. But, to me, it's about movement. If you don't move as well at tackle, you go inside. You don't have to move as much, but your hands are still good. If your hands stink at tackle, they're going to stink at guard. It's not going to make much difference.
Geoff, we say moving outside to inside, but if you move on the opposite side, Is that a huge difference from what you're used to repping on one side or the other?
To be honest, it really depends on the player. Like, I could not play left guard for the life of me. And teams try to put me over there at times. I just stunk at it. Some guys can do it. Some guys can't. It's by the player. And there's no, like, set can't do it. But some players will tell you they don't like it. Some players can figure it out. I think it's harder during the season to make that move. In the offseason, it's much easier. I mean, the Packers famously moved T.J. Lang and Josh Sinn like in one offseason. They just flipped them, and that's easier in one offseason. Just say, okay, you're now working in new positions. But that's harder to do than the guard tackle situation. But again, it's by the player. Like some players, again, I couldn't play left guard. I just stunk at it. No matter how much I tried, terrible. Right guard, right tackle, totally fine.
So are we overrating arm length sometimes? Because you're saying if you could, so like I don't know how well you know Peter Skoronski's game with Northwestern, but he's going to be a top 10 pick this year. But the knock on him right now is his arms are going to be too short. But it is the same thing with Rashawn Slater a couple years ago.
Yeah, but see, Slater's a better athlete than Skoronski is. So like I could see, I never bought the Slater into guard. I could see Skoronski playing guard. Like when you watch him play, and I've watched a good amount of him so far, I could see like, okay, I could see where teams would say, okay, he's more of a guard. Just his movement patterns. He's not kind of as explosive and quick twitch as Slater was or is. But the arm length thing is silly to me. Like Joe Thomas is the one who brought this up, and it's a really good point. So when you punch someone as offensive lineman, your hand is in this position, right? I mean, I know we're seeing like your hand is flexed up like this, right? So we should take out your finger length, your hand length is when we measure how long your arm is, right? Because we measure the entire from shoulder tip all the way, shoulder all the way down your fingertip. Well, if you're punching someone like this, what does it matter how long your hand is? So like I think we were even measuring arm length wrong, and to me it's about and like again it's how you use your body, right? Like it just. We've seen players with shorter arms play tackle just fine. I think, again, I understand the comps. I understand that there's historical data that tells you why a player can be good and why a player might not be good, and that's obviously a valid way to draft players. But there's also guys that kind of break the mold all the time, and you can't always be that rigid in how we draft.
Was it your back that ultimately led you to retiring? Am I wrong?
No, my ankle.
Your ankle.
My brother was the back.
So your brother was the back. Okay.
Ankle, yeah, just being just. Too old, and it was done. I was done.
Yeah, your weekly life in the NFL to stay on the field looked like what?
Yeah, I mean, you just survive. You just do whatever you can to rehab. Like everyone does things differently, right? Like I was not a big sit in the ice tub for 15 minutes guy. I also wasn't a big hot tub guy. But I like the contrast. We go in the hot tub and the cold tub, hot tub, cold tub. My brother, for example, was this thing called a Normatec, where you put your I hated Normatec. Like it wasn't my thing. But I liked massages and kind of like this. I saw at the end of my career, I had stretching people where I'd go and like get stretched once a week. Like you have to find your kind of rhythm on what works for you. For me, I don't drink alcohol. No particular reason why, but like that also helps with recovery. You're just not, the alcohol obviously, and just you get inflamed. Being able to, if you eat a healthier diet, that typically helps in recovery as well. So little things like that. Sleep. I mean, I think the older you get, the more you figure out a way to make it work for yourself.
Matzo ball soup, get you good.
What can the Bears learn from these two teams that are in the Super Bowl, especially when it comes to line play? Because right now, when you look at the Bears roster, it's like O-line, D-line, that they just got to redo the whole thing.
Draft and develop. I mean, it's the hardest thing possible, right? But that's what you have to do. Look at the Eagles. They dress 8 offensive linemen, all 8 are drafted, right?
Yeah.
And of course, hard to do. They have a first rounder sitting on the bench. Okay, like come on, and Andre Dillard. The Chiefs are the more manageable one, right? You have 3 drafted guys, really 2 drafted guys, undrafted free agent and Wiley. You add in the 2 free agents. That feels more likely. But here's the thing too, guys. Like the Chiefs are a good example of they have offensive linemen that fit what they want to do up front. And that's important. Like the Chiefs want to be, when they pass protect, they want to be a physical pass protecting group. They want to get in your face right away, be violent and physical right now. And they have guys that do that. Trey Smith and Joe Tooney and Creed, like they're big. And then Orlando Brown and Wiley, the way they pass protect. So you have to fit your players to the scheme. And the Chiefs do that so well.
Did the Chiefs transform their organization, or did they just get lucky and get Patrick Mahomes?
Well, they got Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Like, Like there's like I mean like there's no
because the Bears could use some transformation here, Jeff. Is what I'm going at. I'm like, and the
look,
Chiefs have acted like sort of like they
look,
did, but it's like you just got Mahomes.
No, look, Andy Reid was winning before Mahomes got there. Right now, I was there in that first year. Like Andy Reid, they were 2-14. Andy Reid comes in, and all of a sudden we were what 11-5 the first year with Alex Smith. They were winning the division before Pat Mahomes got there. So it's not to discount what they did, but obviously 15 took them to a whole other level.
Right.
So. But there's a good synergy now between Brett Veach and Andy Reid, right? And the way they're drafting players and putting together a developmental plan. Coaching staff's been great. So there obviously is a structure in place there. But 15 made that structure Super Bowl champions. And you need to have that, right? You can only have – you can't win without the quarterback. And so to discredit that would be false. But Andy Reid is an excellent coach, and they're able to build the way they have.
We're going to let you go because I know you got somewhere else to be. So, but thank you so much for jumping on with us.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate
Jeff,
it.
you're the best.
Remember, Justin Fields is the best.
Yep.
Listen to my podcast.
Called Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You, which is a great podcast name.
Thanks, Geoff Schwartz.
Thank you. All right.
First class, always.
We didn't even really get an opportunity to jump in the show. We just bam. Geoff Schwartz.
Jumped into it,
We are so loaded today.
We got you some good, solid football arm length talk. You love that stuff, Adam.
I've never thought about that like that.
Take that.
Yeah, what? I have long fingers. Doesn't matter if I'm playing offensive line.
Yeah,
your fingers are going to get mangled in a year anyway. They're going to look like this.
I didn't know if anybody at home was geeking out to the level, but I knew you were. That was right there for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so yesterday we were light on guests. We talked a lot about media night, and the guys next door stole Eric Kramer from us. Eric Kramer's going to be here today. I promise you. And but we also have Trey Wingo, Kenny Mayne, Ross Tucker, who's sort of in the Geoff Schwartz, former player, really good football analyst type realm of media right now, which is great. And then Jess Smetana, who works with the Dan Le Batard show, and she's hilarious, and she's a huge Bears fan too. So we got a loaded show for you today. Of course, brought to you by DraftKings. We are surviving is a good word, right? Surviving.
Yep.
The car ride here this morning was quiet.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, but Allie.
What do you mean you were disappointed? I tried to talk to you 4 different times, and you weren't even responding.
Did you have headphones? I don't even know if you did.
I didn't have headphones, didn't hear a word, but I was in the way back because I don't want anybody else to have to climb all the way back. I am the savior.
I think you like it back there.
Oh, I sure do.
Okay. You got a good nap in the back.
You get to stretch out the leg back there. But we've been busy.
I don't know what Allie just did, but it sounds so much better in my head right now. This is great.
It's been a phenomenal trip for us. I've been having a fantastic time. And Nick last night was, we got back to the house at I don't know, was it the media party? We left at 11:30, so we're back around midnight. I'm exhausted beyond exhausted. I go right in bed. Brandon Spano and the whole thing. They're playing pool. They're having a great time. Nick goes out and joins. I don't know when he got into the room, but when you did. This dude's been sniffling for about, 12 hours straight. You bellowed last night like I've never heard. It was unbelievable. I'm like, the party finally ended. It's quiet out there. I don't have to have this huge, my earphones in, and now Nick's in here, and it's 3 a.m, and I got no chance of going back to bed. But
I'm so sorry, Carmen.
It was okay. I
apologize.
I'll always remember this week.
Let me tell you, Nick is getting a good introduction the last 2 weeks about that media life.
Oh,
Senior Bowl, the Senior Bowl Veets experience.
Out till 3 a.m.
Now he's got the Super Bowl media party experience, which was
that was insane.
Sprawling last night.
It was at this huge farm with I don't know, an acre, 2 acres. How this place was huge.
Real animals there.
There was ducks that were
a turkey. There's a turkey.
I felt bad for the ducks.
The turkeys.
The ducks were. They were all kind of laying around each other when they go to bed. I didn't know that's what.
I think they were annoyed that there was a party going on. I think they wanted to sleep.
Yeah, I felt bad for the ducks.
You and the ducks were in the same headspace.
I wanted to cuddle with the duck. What's up, ducks? It was the NFL has just the moral of the story is the NFL has an insane amount of money, and they throw these parties, and there's 17 bars. There's every food you could possibly eat. The desserts.
No, here's why the NFL's brilliant. They trick the host city into throwing these parties. They're not spending $1 on it. That was hosted by the host committee last night.
Okay, the NFL's
and the NFL tells you can't have the Super Bowl unless you spend all this money. It's amazing.
They're good at what they do. They're good at what they do.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And that's gross.
And then every year it's like, well, we got to top the last one. So next year in Vegas, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like.
There's a Vegas host committee out there, Viva Las Vegas. They wanted some love, so there you go. And they've been serving themselves with coffee and muffins and whatnot.
Clutch every morning.
They've been huge. So
I have to say,
Viva Las Vegas. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, so we have so much to pack into probably what's going to end up being about an hour and a half show today. So we're going to keep it moving right now. Do we have Trey Wingo ready? We caught up with Trey Wingo, of course, the former ESPN star. Got a couple former ESPN stars because Kenny Mayne's on the show today too. Trey, of course, hosted the draft for ESPN for, I don't know, seemed like 20 years. And I miss him doing the draft, to be honest with you. Trey's awesome. So we'll jump into it right now. Some good Justin Fields Bears discussion with Trey Wingo. All right, let's bring in our friend Trey Wingo here on CHGO.
Royalty.
Where?
Are you ready for
you, Trey?
Get out of here.
This is Chicago now. We got to talk Justin Fields. We got to talk all kinds of things. Number 1 overall pick. Trey's here with Caesars Sportsbook. How's your week going so far?
Good. I've been here since Monday, and I feel like I've been here for a month. So let's get to the Super Bowl, shall we? Let's get going. Let's advance time.
We're in the Wednesday grind today.
Trey looks fantastic. Look at the tan. Just look at you look like you're enjoying life.
Yeah.
So 6 years from now, how many Super Bowls will Justin Fields have won with the Bears? Go ahead.
6, clearly.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Well, that's if they don't trade him. But where are you guys on that? By the way, I'm curious because I have very strong opinions about that. But Bears fans, it's Sid Luckman, Bobby Douglas for a year, 2-3 years with Jim McMahon, and then Bupkis. So, where are you guys?
So
I die inside when anybody mentions Sid Luckman at this point. It's so sad.
Luckman.
But when you name those guys, that's why everyone in Chicago is like, don't trade him. What are you talking about? This guy might already be like the second best quarterback ever in the franchise's history. He has a chance to be number 1 by the end, like 12 months from now.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like you got a guy, and it's working. You just need to give him some weapons. Now, obviously, the passing numbers still aren't there, but who is he throwing to?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's only one guy who can make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what without wide receivers, and he's playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay? The reason Jalen Hurts is better, they got A.J. Brown. The reason Tua is better, they got Tyreek Hill, okay? Only Mahomes can lose Tyreek Hill and have the most passing yards, most passing touchdowns, set the single-season record for most yards combined, and, oh, by the way, have the number 1 scoring offense and the number 1 defense. That's the outlier, okay? Everyone else needs the dudes, so give Justin Fields the dudes, and let's make this thing happen.
See, Howie Roseman did that with the Eagles. He gave Jalen Hurts the dudes, but you have to have, a belief in yourself that you can identify the dude. I guess AJ's not that hard to figure out, but he also he took swings and got it wrong and swung again. And I don't know how Bears fans can necessarily feel confident right now that Ryan Poles can do that, but that's how aggressive he has to be.
Well, at least he's not Ryan Pace. Let's put it that way.
There it is.
Okay, let's give him that as a starting point.
So what is your perspective on the Bears? Because that's one thing I'm like the guys that aren't necessarily in Chicago but are paying attention because it was a weird season in Chicago. They get the number 1 overall pick and everybody's just like happy with how everything went. There was a month where they actually led the NFL in scoring, which is like maybe the weirdest thing that happened in the NFL the entire year.
Well, yeah, not only that, but like you guys were having that scoring prowess at the same time you're giving up historically points on defense, which is normally the inverse, right? It's like, wait, that's not the way it should be. I think there's reasons for optimism. First of all, the Vikings are frauds. We all know this, right?
True.
That's sort of the way it is. Who knows what the hell's going to go on in Green Bay? There's a scenario out there that Detroit and Chicago could be the long-term best teams in that division.
Let's go.
Right?
Trey, real quickly, you talk about optimism maybe in Chicago. Is Matt Eberflus a part of that optimism? I feel like he's a guy that kind of gets left out when you talk about head coaches and what they're doing.
No, he did a really nice job. What Matt did was, I think, the essence of coaching. I don't have a system. What do my players do? What do they do well? And I want to put them in positions to do well. Like so many guys bring in, I want to do this. Well, do you have the dudes? No, then why are you trying that? Like, Eberflus understood the situation. He understood what he had, especially on offense, and said, well, let's tailor things to make him successful. That's the whole thing, right? That's like Mike Tomlin's not going to win Coach of the Year. I think he had the best coaching year of his entire career this year. The hardest thing for any coach to do is move on from a franchise/Hall of Fame quarterback to the next guy. Unless you're going Montana to Young, Favre to Rodgers, it's really hard. And he managed that perfectly, and he still hasn't had a losing record, despite moving on from his Big Mitch energy early in the year, and then starting a rookie quarterback, and they almost made it into the postseason. So I think Eberflus has done an amazing job because you have to fit your coaching to around the talent that you have.
You trade in the Bears pick if it's you, or you get in the best talent at the top of the draft?
I want to accumulate. Because you look at you mentioned Howie Roseman, what he's done over the last couple of years, replenishing the Eagles. You look at what Brett Veach did this year when they lose Tyreek Hill. Once Christian Kirk's contract crossed the desk and went to Jacksonville, Brett Veach knew he wasn't going to sign Tyreek. And he got way more for Tyreek than the Packers got for Devontae Adams. Look what they did with that draft. You have Trent McDuffie starting at cornerback. George Karlaftis, their second first-round pick, had 7 sacks in his last 6 games. You have Cook, the safety, who's been there. You have Watson and Williams, who had interceptions in the AFC Championship game. And you have Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round, running fast and hard. That's what the Bears need to do. They need to use their draft capital like that, and that's why I would trade the pick and get as many potential options as you can.
I think Pacheco thinks he's better than Barry Sanders in his prime. That dude's got so much confidence. I love watching him play.
He runs angry.
Yeah.
And by the way, not only does he run angry, he runs a 4.3. How did this guy last till the 7th
round?
It's crazy.
Right.
The value you can get with running backs late in the draft,
correct,
right now is just insane.
And everybody's on the Texas running back. I'm now of the opinion I would never take a running back in the first round.
Yeah,
because you can
too.
find a guy for less money, and it's going to help you in the long term.
And I like Bijan Robinson
I love
a lot.
him. Yeah,
but
it's nothing against him.
It doesn't make sense. But speaking of the draft, what's your favorite memory of all the years you were a part of that?
The best part about the draft, honestly, is that it's totally unscripted. We have no idea. Like, we're sitting here, and I got the Caesar Sportsbook prop bet sheet behind us. What if you had canned me a prop bet before the draft in 2016 and said, here, what do you think about this idea? The top offensive lineman in the draft is going to fall because there's going to be a video surfaced during the draft of him smoking weed in a gas mask. Like, how do you prepare for the gas mask bong video? You don't. Like, you're just strapped in and like, all right, well, we got to talk about this now, and that's what makes the draft fun. Like, it's crazy.
The production level's insane, the way just everything's on the fly. What was the last year you were?
2020.
Okay,
the COVID draft.
So what do you remember about the year the Bears traded up for Mitch Trubisky?
Well, that was in Philadelphia, and the Bears used a first-round pick to move up 1 spot. Not great, Bob. Not great. And making it worse is that after, and this is not on Mitch, this is on everybody else, the 2 quarterbacks taken after him were Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun has turned into a whole different discussion, but when it was just about football, obviously there were huge mistakes there. But they moved up 1 spot and gave up a first-round pick to get Mitchell Trubisky.
Because I vaguely remember from the coverage, you guys are like, are they really doing this for a quarterback? What is happening right now? There was confusion in the moment.
And they moved up 1 spot, and they gave up a first-round pick to move up 1 spot.
Why don't you do your Ryan Pace and say, when you have conviction on something, no matter how stupid it looks.
Hey, man, look, we really liked him.
I'll tell you this. I'll give Ryan credit for something. He was very convicted. I know someone in that organization that told me that Pace was telling everybody Trubisky is a bigger, more accurate Drew Brees.
Oh God, is that really?
He
really?
did.
Just let that bring you down. Let that bring you down for a minute.
Hoag's gonna get mad at me here, but I just want your opinion. What is Tom Brady doing? Is he coming back? Is he going on the I want to be young and single?
Yeah.
Does he want to spend time with his kids? What do you got?
Well, I think the kids are right out. Right? I mean, let's be honest about that. I mean, he was so fiercely protective over the years, and basically he took a flamethrower to his entire domestic situation to come back and go 8-9 for 1 year. Like, if you're going to blow everything up for football, why are you retiring now?
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
You're third in the NFL in yards. Now you're going to go on a beach with a weird hotel behind you and an iguana eating your leg and tell everybody you're done.
Yeah, and taking shots of yourself in underwear. Like just showing off your 46-year-old soon-to-be tight stomach. I mean, look, Tom. I threw all the roses at Tom last year when I thought he was retiring. This year I was like, congratulations.
Yeah,
we've done this already.
Yeah, you don't get to do it again.
Yeah, the sequel's never as good as the original.
To his credit, though, I think he realized that too. He mentioned that even in his retirement video. He's like, you only get to do this once. Yeah. Trey, thanks so much. This is awesome. Appreciate you being here. Trey Wingo.
And in the great words of Mike Ditka, go Bears!
All right, appreciate Trey Wingo. Allie, I got to echo. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Braggs immediately pointed out in the comments that the Bears did not give up a first-round pick in the Trubisky trade.
Yes, they did. They gave up their own.
Well, they gave up their own, but they moved. You're not really giving up a first-round pick.
It's a first-round pick.
Whatever. I think we knew what he meant is the point. Doesn't make the trade any better or worse.
Doesn't make it better.
But we appreciate catching up with Trey. That was fun. We had a good time. And
settle down, Braggs. Not give up a first-round pick, even though they did. It was just a swap.
I don't look at it like that. You're swapping first-round picks, then you're giving up everything else.
Yes.
Yeah, the way he said it, it flipped in my head. But he's technically correct. You gave up your third pick to move, to go to 2.
Trey Wingo's right. Greg Braggs is wrong.
I mean, Bragg's over Wingo. End of the day, we gotta stay loyal to Braggs. But no, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, sources are telling me, been telling me that Braggs is a little upset about the lack of brick by brick mentions this week.
Oh yeah.
But we can't be brick by brick if Braggs isn't here.
That's him.
Brick by brick on the interviews. Kenny Mayne coming up. That's a solid brick. We've got Eric Kramer coming up. We've got Ross Tucker coming up. And but right now, at this very moment, I want to talk about my sex life and your sex life because that's the most important thing that's on my mind. Hey, 50% of men, they have symptoms that get in the way of wanting, or then get to the ultimate goal, which would be enjoying sex. So do you want a better sex life? Roman is here to help. It's the digital health clinic for men, addressing a variety of sexual health needs. They offer discreet wipes that help you listen closely, last 4 times longer in bed. Men with low T, getting testosterone levels back to normal, that can help increase your libido. That's a big thing. Roman offers a testosterone test. There's no waiting rooms. There's no hassle. It's a straightforward, and listen to this one, digital experience. So you're doing this from the comfort of your own home. I know some people get a little bit wonky about talking about this subject, so you get to do it from your own home. And if medication or testing is appropriate, Roman will send it directly right to your door. Now, to learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to ro.co/CHGO. Learn more how you can achieve your personal sexual goals. Go to ro.co/CHGO to get 20% off your entire first order. Thank you. That's ro.co/CHGO. ro.co/CHGO.
After you check out Roman, you got to check out Green Ridge Farm. And we're going to talk about some meat sticks, you guys. And it's a Chicago local meat and cheese company that offers a better all-natural option. Green Ridge Farm are the makers of all-natural deli meat, sausages, and those meat sticks. Perfect for tailgating, happy hour, and school lunches. They also have 16 grams of protein per stick. Perfect for a post-workout snack. And the meat sticks come in chicken, black forest beef, and flavors like jalapeno, cheddar, my personal favorite. And right now, when you order any 3 meat products at greenridgefarm.com and include a pack of meat sticks in your cart, you know what happens, Carm? Those meat sticks will be free.
So free, so good.
Simply by using code CHGO at checkout.
I mean, it's been phenomenal to be out here all week, but I do miss my Greenridge farm. Can't wait to get back home for a little Greenridge farm.
That's what you
agree
miss
with that.
most.
It's up there. It's right. I mean,
Maybe having your own bedroom so you don't have to hear me
I mean,
throwing off honkers while I'm
we've
sleeping.
got some other things that might, eclipse, but it's in the team photo. Let's be real.
All right, we're going to keep it moving brick by brick, right?
Brick by
Brick by brick. From Trey Wingo to Kenny Mayne. Kenny Mayne is up next. Let's jump in right now with you love this conversation.
I do. We're talking life here. This is a good one here. Let's
Just
achieve.
if you're wondering why we started late today, it's because this guy, I think he would have got another 20 minutes with Kenny Mayne.
He's right over there, Mark.
I'm staring at him right now. He's having a great interview. He's got a beautiful smile on his face. Kenny Mayne was awesome. I did not know I was going to enjoy that interview as much as I did, and I thought I was going to enjoy it.
You'll like it too. Here it is. All right, let's bring in Kenny Mayne, one of my personal all-time favorites. I've talked to you here before on Radio Row.
You're so talented.
I am.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you for owning it. It's so much better that way.
Okay, we should just be honest.
Well,
we don't need to be humble.
No, I'm not. I have zero ego and no pride. Like, I try for shit all the time. Can we swear on this show?
Yeah,
Yes.
keep going. It's encouraged.
Yeah. So you just, like, when I left ESPN, the first thing I tried to do was make a commercial with Michael Jordan. I had this idea regarding the crying Jordan meme. Thought it was pretty funny. The woman in charge, at least we were talking. The fact that I was even in a conversation for 3 or 4 days where they didn't say no, right? Sometimes you send people stuff and they haven't answered yet. And then you find out they haven't read they haven't read the email.
Yeah.
Still alive.
That's how I live my
But
life,
it didn't
by
work.
the way.
Yeah, I've done that, how I got to ESPN, other stuff I've tried for. I just shoot for the moon. Like Nick Zito, horse race trainer, greatest line ever, maybe not just in sports, but in life. He had lost the Belmont like 9 years, or 9 second places, I should say. And they kept saying, man, you've never won. How disappointing. He's like, second is better than third. Second in the Belmont's pretty good. Yes, I'd rather win. He said, you know what? You can't even lose if you don't enter.
Well, for some people out there that exactly like they don't enter because they don't want the rejection. You have to at least you should.
I love rejection. I like being told no.
You guys can be friends.
I don't necessarily love it, but you gain from it, right? Like, not very many people, just like Tom Brady. No knock on him. He's worked hard and had a great career. He's had a pretty blessed, right? Like, this happened and this happened, and I'm talking about it career-wise, right?
Sure.
Jumps in now to post thing for $1 zillion, right? Not most people don't get that path, and he worked hard to get them. Not knocking or taking away. I just use that as an example. Most people start at some lame job and barely making rent, and then they got to go to the next, right? Most people grind to get wherever they go, but the key is putting yourself out there and not being scared about the negativity.
Kenny, where's that come from for you to
huge
kind of have
muscle
that?
to build.
Yeah, where's that come from?
I think being the fourth child, the only boy, Master Kenny is here, is what the Canadian cousins actually call me. No, like I was told by my parents, go try anything. And I when I started high school football, I was 5'8", 135. They were looking like, what the hell is he doing here? But the next year I was 6'2", still like 135, but at least I'd grown, No, I had to kind of grow into my hands, and feet, like eventually I would mature, and that's why I went to junior college originally before I went to UNLV, which leads us to my ruined leg, which leads us to our foundation. What was the original question, though?
I
How did you get
don't
that?
know.
From my
How
parents.
Yeah.
I think I was instilled all of that by my parents. Confidence in yourself, put yourself out there, shoot for the moon.
Yeah, I just think it's actually a super vulnerable, important question. Like, how do you build the muscle to go out in the world and have people tell you no, to keep going, and just have the positive self-talk to yourself that I'm okay no matter what anybody thinks, that some door's going to open at some point that I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'm going to get there.
It's happened to me more than once. Like, I had a TV job. Originally, I wanted to be like a news, like I'm more into politics and sports, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to go. I took political science and history and English, and I was thinking I was going to be Ken Burns one day before I knew who Ken Burns was, right? Or do serious stuff. My little station in Seattle was only Monday through Friday. It was a little independent. We always used to say, if there's news on the weekends, it's news to us. That was our motto. But they added weekend, Saturday, Sunday, which are the days of the weekend, and they said, you're doing sports. I was like, at first I was like, all right, I guess. But once I did it, and you got to own it and write your own rundown and go to Seahawks games and Mariners and whatever, I just quickly like, oh, this is the way to go. I can still do the other stuff as my avocation, and shot for the moon. But I quit that job, and I had 4 years before I got hired by ESPN. I sold prepaid legal insurance. I assembled garbage cans. I worked for MCI. Remember back when there was like long distance wars, right? While I was freelancing in TV, and I even would make up jobs. I would call, say the Seahawks had a home game against Kansas City. I'd take the black book and call all 7 TV stations in Kansas City. Are you sending a crew? And the ones that weren't, would you like a crew? I can hire a camera. I'll be the reporter. We'll send it on a satellite. Like I would just invent work.
That's initiative.
It wasn't like I made a crazy amount of money, but I didn't make a lot of money then anyway,
so
right?
how did ESPN find you then?
I found them. Joe Montana to John Taylor, 49ers beat the Bengals, right? 89, I think it was. And I had a good show. I just knew like the highlight was good. The rest of the content was good. I sent that tape to them. They called and said, send us another one. We want to see if that was a fluke. I sent them the next show or whatever I sent them. Then I just chased them, and it took 4 years, though. They didn't hire me right away. They didn't think I was enough of a sports nerd, which I'm not. They identified that correctly. Like, just a broad knowledge of every last I still don't have it. I never had it. But I know how to do a show. And you can fake your way. You can minimize. There's, you don't need to know everything. But it's good to have a great base of knowledge. I'm not knocking that.
That really just makes me feel good all over because I know that's what I've heard about ESPN. They are going to ask you who's the sixth inning reliever for the Seattle Mariners in 2007, and you got to know that. I'm like, are you nuts? I don't like sports to that level.
I have local reference for you guys. My answer when I got interviewed like 3 times, they would say, "Hey, go interview Griffey. He hit 2 home runs last night. We want it for baseball tonight." Right?
Okay. I
would not just interview Griffey, but then go home and type up typewriters. They didn't have computers back then, or handwrite. We would send the tapes on an overnight courier most of the time or satellite, but I would include in the package a handwritten or typewritten. Here's what you could have had, and I would write a story. I did like extra credit. It's not a little dorky, but it showed my ambition. Finally, on the last interview, when I finally got hired, this is when Keith Olbermann went back to Dan Patrick. Stuart Scott moved up to be next to Susie. They needed one more low-level person, looking at me. And I told Vince Doria when I had my final interview, he was the old Boston Globe guy that was running a lot of ESPN too. I said, Vince, I still don't know who the 5th pitcher on the Cubs is, and I don't really care. But if you tell me there's a story on the son of a bitch, it'll be the best story here. Ooh, and he looked at me like, I like that. I never got to do that story, but I did get to go to Wrigley once.
I so appreciate
So that's
this
a
interview.
football injury?
Last play at Oregon, I was a junior at UNLV. We were getting murdered. Some guy stuck his helmet on my ankle to end the game. And in old game film, it's always like left to right. They pan the field and then they go up to the scoreboard. That's how as you're looking at football film,
Before
and you can see me squiggling in the corner. Other people are shaking hands and talking to cheerleaders or whatever. But so I played the next year. I came back from that. I don't know how, because it was a significant injury. They were going to honor my scholarship, but thinking I wasn't going to play, right? But I wanted to play. But I was second to Sam King, who led the nation in passing yards, and Randall Cunningham was coming up behind us as a freshman. And then all these years later, I got this device I'm wearing that you can't see. I can show wide shot. Doesn't matter. Look up the website. Look at the website. Run Freely, RUNFREELY, runfreely.org. So once I got my device, I cried for about 2 hours because the emotion, the fact that I now felt this power on this terrible leg that doesn't work. I was running on the first day. Gretchen and I quickly let's do something good with this. We started this foundation, and I think we're close to 40 veterans we've helped.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Congratulations on that.
It takes you out of pain. If I wear regular shoes, tennis shoes or dress shoes, I have a bad day. I'm limping that night. I'm icing. If I wear flip-flops or my brace device, then I'm good.
Runfreely.org?
Yep, .org.
Yep.
Speaking of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yes, Kenny.
We got to go in the stadium because I'm shooting a story with Malcolm Butler.
Okay.
I'm from Seattle.
Yeah.
You guys know Malcolm Butler, what he did to us.
Yep.
So we're doing this bit where we're trying to exercise, get this behind us, right? And Malcolm Butler's going to show up again. But and we got one with David Tyree as well. So that essentially that's mostly what I do for Caesars. Go to some big event, think up a couple of my stupid little skits, try to get agreements. That's another thing you're talking about, ambition. Just if we wanted somebody to be in something, let's see if we can get a hold of Ben Stiller's agent. And he ended up knowing who I was and liking what I did and said yes. Let's see if John Legend will sing a song for me. I'll write a really horrible song. He said, yeah. Sometimes you get a yes, sometimes you get a no.
I think that my favorite thing you did recently is you did a thing with a kid where you were like yelling at him.
We can't say the word KID regarding that. We're not talking about it in that context.
Yes.
Are we talking about a different context?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
That.
Yeah. I'm hyper focused in my own head right now of like how you found your shtick, your voice, where like this will work and I can do this and I know we got to go.
But I don't think people use that word. I don't think I'm.
I might not even.
What I'm doing with you guys right now is the same thing you saw me do on TV, except I had a tie and sad to say stupid statistics or whatever. But right, like I think being authentic is the best. Some people, put on, here's my thing I'm doing, but if you talk to me 5 minutes from now, I don't sound anything like that.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. Like, but some people are on there, they're trying to perform.
Yeah.
And you were able to settle into you. Mm-hmm. That's a journey in itself right there.
Bugs Bunny Hour, Johnny Carson, my dad, my uncle, my dad's best friend, Al Drake, my best friend, Mark Sands. Like who I was surrounded with growing up, I would say I ended up making a career out of the same stuff that used to get me sent out in the hall in 5th grade. What's the most absurd thing I can do right this second?
Yeah.
Say it. Maybe I'm a ham. I don't know. Maybe I wanted the reaction.
Sure.
Kenny?
Be normal.
I'll take Philadelphia to win. Thanks.
Okay. Then that's what I'm going to do, too.
Yeah.
Kenny
I don't know. It's a toss-up game.
Kenny, I don't think we're going to have a more enjoyable conversation all week. That was
There's
great.
no chance you will. Thank you.
so much. All right, thanks to Kenny Mayne. That was an enjoyable conversation. Fun as always.
I love Kenny Mayne.
He's hilarious.
Awesome.
And we're moving from Kenny Mayne now to Eric Kramer,
Yes.
former
Let's
Bears
go.
quarterback.
Let's go. Where is the applause in this place?
We should have a
I'm going to bring my own.
There we go.
I
There
like
we go.
it.
That's
I like
right.
it.
That's right.
It's so great to have you here, Eric. And I want to start here. Is it wild to you that you still have the single season passing record for the Bears?
It is, and it's a shame,
Yeah.
right? Because that thing should have been broken long ago. So I think, to me personally, we got the guy to do it now.
Okay.
Finally. Because I couldn't have been more impressed with Justin Fields going from the worst quarterback in the league the first few weeks to probably the most unique one. I mean, he doesn't quite have it all figured out just yet, throwing the ball. And what I haven't seen him do just yet is sort of in zone coverages, move defenders around, that sort of thing. But from where he started to where he ended the season, take out the Lions game, and the guy is phenomenal.
Well, can you give us some ideas at quarterback, just what he was truly dealing with, though, this year? And when you talk about the passing part of the game, the protection, it was hit or miss. It wasn't great, and he really didn't have weapons. Like, just how hard is that?
What I saw was a guy who had no confidence in himself to play catch. That simple.
Okay.
He went from that to a guy that you base the game plan on.
You're saying at the beginning of the season, that's what it looked like?
I was at the 49er game.
Okay,
it was ugly.
Yeah.
And so were the next two or three. And like I said, not perfect, because the throws he would struggle with literally were on the run, which is a strength of his, is to be on the run. So if he can figure out, actually, when you're going to throw on the one, you want to run at what you're throwing to. You don't want to throw over there and throw that way. Same thing when you're throwing those little quick receiver screens. You have to get in line with where the ball is going. And so, other than those couple things, this guy's got it figured out, man.
So the knock on him that some people say is that he's not able to go through his progressions clear enough. He's got to have he's much.
True enough. I'll give you that.
Okay. So you're saying that you can learn that.
You can.
He
has. There's times when he does go from first to second to third to fourth to a dump off, and the dump off might be him running. But you can see him working through it, rather than early in the year, it was either this guy's might be open, or if it's not, I'm dropping back. There was times when, so I do a podcast and on the Bears, and we'll get the all 22 from the game, sideline and end zone. And there's times you can see him early in the year dropping back really just to invite the rush so that he could run out of the pocket. Had no idea what he was looking at, to finding the right guy, and then when the right guy is covered, finding the next right guy.
And I want to be clear, CHGO Bears fans, I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just wondering if the best strategy would be just to create an offense on what he can do right now versus let's have him sit in the pocket a lot more in year 3, and there's going to be some growth things there, but hopefully by the middle of the season he's got it because he's got better weapons and everything's around him, and then it really clicks, and now you've got, I don't know, a top 5 guy in the league, and nobody would even argue with that.
I think he's going to be a top 5 guy in the league given the offense that they're currently running. So if you start changing things now, I think you take a step backward. To me, he already took that step backward at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And so ride the wave as it's going right now. To me, I mean, he's grown in the offense that,
he has.
that
no question.
he started out struggling with, then wasn't. So to me, stick with that formula. Don't change it.
Well, Eric, I would say, too, a lot of the same things that we were saying about Fields early on probably were being said about Jalen Hurts. And then you get all these weapons and this offense that's oriented around him. And now he's playing in the Super Bowl. Is that what it's really going to take, too, if the Bears can just surround Justin Fields with maybe a number 1 wide receiver? You're going to start to see him blossom as a passer?
That's a very interesting question you just posed, because I think those two are like identical in the paths that they've taken so far. Who thought Jalen Hurts at the end of that last playoff game last year was going to be this year's Jalen Hurts? No one. Who thought, like, Justin Fields did something I've never seen done before in a season. So during the season, he went from couldn't play catch with the next door neighbor to dissecting defenses and making up for other people's mistakes, namely the offensive line. And so, yeah, I think that's a great comparison between the two, because I see Justin Fields making that Jalen Hurts-like jump from this year to next year and then beyond.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch it next year. I mean, and I think we're all on the same page here on this show that the idea of like trading Justin Fields and drafting a quarterback is just insane right now.
Whoever says that, just to make one thing clear, do not join the Bears scouting department or have anything to do with the draft or any decision-making whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think that that's on the table, really. So not based on what we hear about what the Bears really think about Justin Fields. So
yeah, no, listen. Continue down the path, trade the number 1 pick, get more picks, get a really good player, show how good of a general manager you are. We keep on hearing there's huge depth as far as guys that can get to the quarterback. Go get one of those guys somewhere between 9 and, 21, and show that you're the best at your job, and everybody they'll build a statue for Ryan Poles if he can do that. That's the plan.
I want to shift the conversation to a big reason why you're here today, and that's the mental health aspect. I want to get into a little bit of how it is today. Actually, let's start there. From your knowledge of maybe the stigmatism of mental health, somewhat relaxing, it seems to be much more a focus inside the building of these NFL teams and across all sports compared to when you played. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah. So when I played, the two words that never went together in the same sentence, mental health. Now it's like, hey, let's have a mental health party. And I mean in every part of society. It's in schools. It's in not just professional sports. It's companies. They're geared now towards dedicating resources, meaning money, and funding and expertise to people's mental health, because think about it. That's the number 1 thing that drives everybody goes through these issues, by the way. So who hasn't thought about suicide? Raise your hands. So it's going to be the whole room. Who makes a plan to do it? Not that many, but some do. I did. And then go execute it. I went and did that. Thank God I didn't succeed. That was my favorite failure in life, because I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't be doing some things that are coming forward. One is a book. Somebody approached, actually my girlfriend, about writing me. Would Eric be okay if I approached him about collaborating on a book? I didn't know him from this table. Bill Croyle is his name, and it took me a few months of just chatting on the phone. I said, hey, can I read one of your books? He said, sure. So he wrote a book on the last survivor of being pulled out of the rubble of 9/11.
Oh, wow.
And he writes these books that are sort of not the everyday. And mine is not the everyday. And so I'm excited. That's going to probably come out late fall, I'm guessing. And so that's one thing. And never written a book before. And it's been a fun process. And I think an important one because, as I just mentioned, it deals with kind of a broad scope of things, which would be, I played football, so it deals with some of that. It deals with some of the ups and downs of that. And it also deals with depression. And I don't look depressed today. I don't feel depressed today. But there are things that come along the way with head trauma. And let's say I'd never shot myself. There's head trauma there. And combine that with shooting myself, there's a lot of head trauma there that I've never been depressed a day since, but there's a neuropsychologist. So the specialists in the field of head trauma are neuropsychologists. There's only one. And so he was saying to me, Dr. Tomaszewski, that Eric, great that you're not depressed. Well, there's other things you're going to be dealing with forever. One is lack of sleep. So I've gotten connected with a neurologist, Dr. Darby, back in LA that's part of a UCLA program called Brain Sport, headed up by Dr. Giza. And so that's helped. I finally found a therapist, and she says, I'm no specialist in head trauma. I said, I don't care. How long have you been a therapist? She said, X amount of years. I said, have you always been pretty good at relying on your instincts and what questions to ask? Yeah. I said, well, we'll get along just fine. And so I feel like now I've got everything in place and everything's kind of looking forward. And, one of them is a mental health program called Mental Health Touchdown. It's not off the ground just yet, but we've got all the people in place, when I say all, 3, and it's going to be centered around kids and their families. And then just recently, I was part of a Zoom meeting that went out. It was literally at 8 a.m., a 9 o'clock Zoom meeting was going to take place. So there was only 3 people on it with the therapist. And so that's something that I would like to continue.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yes. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing your journey. It's super vulnerable, and I'm thinking of in my last 10 years or so, I've done more growth work than I'd ever done prior in my life, and I had done some. So when I first heard how you started this whole thing, that there's a part of everybody that actually wants to lie down, that was like a normal comment. Like the first time I heard that, I was like, it was so foreign, but yet it's so true too. They're like, hey man, we get beaten down, and you went through trauma after trauma. Your son passed away, your mom passed away, your father is diagnosed with terminal cancer. I mean that PTSD, whatever you want to call it, like that is so much for one person to handle, which got you to that point, and then you have to get somehow you come out on the other side miraculously, and you're still building your life every single day. It's that we can all say like 1 foot forward, but that's not necessarily really how it goes.
Because you can't put 1 foot forward when you're in a spin cycle, and I just, for me at that time, as I think back, the one thing that I recall from back then was that it's like everybody's walking out the door. There's really no one coming in that door. And that's something that you can't really prepare for. There's no way to go, here's what's going to come down the road in a few weeks. And depression, by the way, isn't something that it sits around and goes, when do you have the next 3 months off? Yeah. Okay, now we're going to show ourselves. Well, it happens like on a Tuesday morning out of the blue. Yeah. And so, there's ways to start the process of building your own little home team, support network, before depression ever shows up. And it gives you, when challenges happen, you kind of get in the mode of, this is what I do when challenges happen.
Yeah, and it's also you can't rely on your parents. Ultimately, you're always going to lose your parents, and in your case, yourself. Like your system might not look the way you think it's going to look. You got to build it. Anyway,
That's
go
right.
ahead, Adam.
And like a lot of people in life that do things for a long time, how do you stay up with it? Well, I evolve.
Right.
And you kind of roll with what comes, and you start to build what used to be becomes something better and bigger.
But that evolution probably has to be pretty hard when you go from NFL quarterback to life after football. I'm just thinking about what you said about all of a sudden there's not as many people coming in the door. And probably when you were playing, there was probably endless people coming in the door. Did you deal with depression when you were playing too?
I did.
And how much do you look back on football being a contributor to all that?
None. What I contributed to was in 1994 when I went from Detroit to Chicago. That was the first time in my life when people said, "You're the guy." So it was like
Huge pressure.
Wow, this hadn't happened. I didn't start in high school. When I had to go to junior college, my first year there, I was going part-time selling cable television door to door, and I had to back up the next year. And then when I got recruited at NC State, they brought in other quarterbacks too. I had to call my way onto the Lions, and then here's somebody going, "We want you." Well, it went from "we want you" to I got hurt, someone else comes in, and the train kept moving. And so I was healthy enough to play, just wasn't. And that got, all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the one here that's fallen down on the job. And it's one thing to fail, I've failed before. It's another thing to fail when you're hoisted up and then this big crash happens and the train's gone now. And so I remember my mom came out and stayed, with us for a few days and a week or so, and it was just when you're depressed, there's no fighting, there's no fight to it. You can't. It just happens, and so the cure to me is okay. There's going to be antidepressants involved and therapy involved. Got that. Long before that ever happens, you can start intuitively building your own support network.
Yay, team.
Got to have one.
Eric, we could talk to you about this forever. It's so great to see you here. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you, guys.
First class. And I know you got your camp, too. EKPC12.com. You want to learn how to become a quarterback?
Actually, it's ekpass12.com.
Okay. I don't know how that happened.
For those of you that haven't taken notes just yet.
Oh, he's got a lot of notes here.
That's
so I'm
okay.
actually
I
impressed.
take no
this
notes
is way more
myself.
notes than he ever had.
I clicked on this, too, and it worked.
and you're on Twitter at EKPass. I did see that. And
thank you, fellas. This has been great.
Thanks so much for being
Go
here.
Bears.
That's
Go
right.
Bears.
That's right. And I know all of our viewers and listeners love hearing what you had to say about Justin Fields. So, it's so great to see you. And we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Love it.
All right, there he is, Eric Kramer. We got another guest coming in right away. I think Ross Tucker is here in the house. So we'll bring him in here as we go. Let's see. We probably got to sneak in a break here at some point.
Sneak in a break. Let's sneak in a break.
We
know what we're doing.
We got to figure out what the break is.
I got to talk to Eric Kramer
course.
for 8 hours. I love that guy.
No, but this is a great segue.
Of course it is.
Because Ross is here with DraftKings, so that helps, right?
Write down CHGO PHNX DNVR lane.
And are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? Of course you are. DraftKings Sportsbook. Go ahead and sit down right here. Yeah. Thanks, Ross. An official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57 is all the Super Bowl action you need. New customers can bet just $5, get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get in on the Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour Super Boost. Check the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day during happy hour. That's 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, 5 to 8. They make me do the conversion every single day. It's really getting to me. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57. Get 200 in bonus bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. One of the busiest guys in football with us right here. He's, when he's not calling games or doing his podcast, he's taking photos of food and press boxes, which I always appreciate as somebody who frequents press boxes.
They had an unbelievable donut spread here when I got here, like at 6 a.m.
Oh, we should have been here at 6.
It was so well. It's for the Las Vegas Super Bowl next year, like the hospitality thing. And I'm a big for me, it was a tough call between apple fritter or cinnamon roll. Those are my. If every donut option's available. I love apple fritter. I love cinnamon roll. I went with the apple fritter.
That's a good
choice.
call.
That's a good choice.
That's an excellent choice.
It's the type of thing, by the way, that I would never actually like buy. You know what I mean?
And
Like, I'm not going to drive somewhere. I'm like somewhere like this,
It's right
and
there.
it's just out there free. It's like staring at me like, Ross.
Maybe a McDonald's apple pie, but that's a different conversation. Can't go wrong there. Ross Tucker's here.
Hot
and-
Fudge Sunday with nuts. And Mickey D's. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Can we talk about Bears, Justin Fields?
Yeah.
It's a hot topic.
You think?
Yeah.
Why are people mad at Matt Nagy?
Why are people mad at him?
Why
I've
wouldn't
seen
they be
people
mad at
'cause
Matt Nagy?
No. Well, he said he thinks Justin Fields will get to a Super Bowl, and people are like mad that he said that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, we were partly to blame for that. Not to blame. We were just there covering it.
We did the interview.
Look, we talked to Matt for 20 minutes on Monday night, which was, I thought, actually cool of him to he could have easily been like, look, I'm here with the Chiefs. I coach the Chiefs now.
He did that at opening night with you guys.
With what?
Talk to you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
That's what I'm
that's
saying.
awesome. No, that's
yeah,
what I'm
no.
saying.
We did 20 minutes on the Bears with him, and he was open and honest. He admitted his failures, and
that's great.
and obviously he still loves Fields and thinks
Yeah.
he's going to be good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I'll say this from a physical standpoint, he can pick them. I mean, Mahomes and Fields.
true, yeah.
I mean, because he was there. And
Yeah.
he was in Kansas City, obviously, and was instrumental in them getting Mahomes. So I don't know. I would maybe talk to him. I mean, Fields he might be the most physically gifted quarterback in the league right now. I mean, he's the fastest. I don't care about Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. Nobody's faster than Justin Fields. Nobody's faster. And he's bigger. And his arm, some of the throws he made,
Right.
insane. It actually, and we'll see how good he ends up being, but it's actually a little bit surprising to me when I watched him this year, even like the Eagles game or some of these other games. It's a little surprising to me that he didn't get drafted higher. Just based on, and he's a smart kid, he's a good kid, but just based on the physical ability, it's kind of wild.
It is amazing how they fall in love with who they fall in love with. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, and especially when it's Zach Wilson who goes. I mean, Trey Lance, I understood at a certain point, but now when you look back at Zach Wilson, and I did it too, I fell in love with Zach Wilson's arm, and with Justin Fields, it's like you just look at when the first day he stepped into Hallis Hall. And I saw him play in college a couple times from the sidelines, but when he stepped into Hallis Hall, it's like, this guy's huge.
And we were talking to some of the Eagles defenders. They're like, he's a lot tougher to take down than what you think. And
Nobody else did that to them all year. You know, I do the Eagles preseason games on TV. I do their pregame on the radio. No one else did that to them. They have like 80 sacks this year, something crazy.
Yeah.
They got him a bunch, but he also made them miss a bunch. Reddick should have had a game, and Fields just kept making them miss.
And you don't hear dudes talk about guys like they talked about Justin after that game. They were throwing him so many bouquets of flowers. You know that's a legit level of respect when you can shake people like that and then talk about it.
1,000%. There's no question.
Justin Fields. Who do you like? Who do you
Is
like?
that all you guys talk about? in
Nah,
Chicago?
for the
We don't have a lot going
But
on.
I want
Ross.
but I do want to talk about the Eagles with you because you do know them better than probably 90% of the people walking around here. Someone asked me the other day, I think it was on our show, someone asked who's the one defensive player in this game on Sunday that could just completely take it over. Someone said Chris Jones, which makes a lot of sense. I said Hassan Reddick. The guy has been an absolute beast here in the playoffs and seemingly is getting better every week. Like if there's one guy who could wreck the game on Sunday, I feel like it's him.
Well, it's definitely Reddick. I'll tell you why. The Eagles' offensive line is just too good for it to be Chris Jones. They're so good, dude. I mean, they're like a mid-'90s Cowboys offensive line. They're not just the best O-line in the league. They're one of the best we've seen. Put it this way, the center is first-team All-Pro. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's the best player, best center in the league. The right tackle is the best right tackle in the league. Probably a Hall of Famer, at least he's trending that way. Their left side of the line, people don't know him as much about these guys. Jordan Mailata, 6'8", 380, the Australian guy. And
He's
then Landon
massive.
Dickerson, the left guard, is 6'6" and a quarter, like 350. Picture you're a D tackle, okay? And you're lined up in a 3 technique, which is the outside shoulder of the guard. They come off on a double team. That's 730 pounds. And they are coming off. Like, physics would dictate you're not supposed to be able to stand up to that. There's a reason why Javon Kinlaw was getting thrown out of the club. The Niners came in. I was on the sideline for that game. Niners came out. They were like playing to the Philly crowd. Like, oh, I can't hear you. I thought you guys were supposed to be tough. And then the Eagles just smashed their face. Like, they were throwing Bosa to the ground. I really thought the Niners might be able to go toe-to-toe with them up front. They weren't able to, which, by the way, your squad did a great job against the Eagles. That was a competitive.
They were in there.
I was really impressed with your defense, which is like the new no-name defense. And I don't even know who any of these guys are. They're playing well.
They play hard for Matt Eberflus.
By the way, so I don't know if you know, but Adam, I'm here with Simple Bet. I got to tell you about this. So it's micro betting, but here's what I'm telling you about it. Second half, the NFC Championship game. I don't even know if you guys know you can do this in Chicago. You can bet not only on every drive, but you can bet on every play. So when the Niners didn't have a quarterback, you could I'm a DraftKings guy, so you are you. I heard you talking about it, right? So you could pull it up, go to in-game, and you could have been every time the Niners had the ball, you can either do touchdown, field goal, or punt. Click punt, bet on punt, and then you can bet on every play. Run. I didn't even know till I met Chris and his team at Simple Bet. I didn't even know that micro betting like this was a thing. I knew there was in-game betting like, okay, the Eagles are minus 16.5 now because the Niners don't have a quarterback.
Sure.
I didn't know. And he was saying, you guys will appreciate this, having two baseball teams. I'm with the CEO, Chris Bevilacqua. Their biggest sport is baseball because you can bet every at-bat. You can bet every single pitch if you want to. So you can be sitting there at Wrigley Field, like a beer in one hand, and the other hand, here comes, this is going to be a strikeout. Like, that's awesome.
That's insane.
Did you guys even know about that?
Not necessarily to that micro level.
That's what everybody knows there's in-game betting, but people don't know you can actually, and it's, where is it?
I knew you could bet every drive.
Yeah, DraftKings, Caesar, Bet365, but DraftKings, it's right there on the in-game. So basically, I'm sure you guys have been talking about it, but there's like a million prop bets on the Super Bowl?
Sure, yeah.
This thing, the micro betting, it basically turns a Week 4 Lions-Bears game into the Super Bowl because it's all prop bets. Yeah. Like every play is a prop bet. Every drive is a prop bet.
It's the genius of what's going on here. This is what,
you know what, though? I think that Bears-Eagles game was one of those games where the Bears were winning at one point or it was at least close.
And you were nervous?
No, I was like, slam the Eagles right now.
Yeah.
Because eventually that no-name defense, it was like, come on.
How pumped were all you guys when your boy Lovey got that win? That was unbelievable. That was amazing.
What was insane about that was like the Bears game ended and we were about to go live with our post-game show. So we're in studio, we're all watching that, like, and when Davis Mills completes that pass, like everybody just like jumped up and
it's the best moment.
Which is really sad.
It's pathetic.
They gotta trade down, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they have to. I mean, you're not the whole idea of trading Fields for another quarterback.
You know what's weird though? Well, they're not going to do that. But what's weird is, you look at the different mock drafts. It's not as much like Bryce Young #1 as I thought it was.
No,
there's Stroud. There's some Will Levis as like the first quarterback off the board. So, part of me, a little bit of me, is wondering. I think by then somebody will fall in love with one of them enough to move up to 1 and get it. I think that'll happen because they could say. If somebody likes Levis the most, or if the Colts at 4, like maybe they don't trade up, maybe they just take the chance that they can get him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those like 2 weeks out before the draft trades that we've seen recently.
They're going to get value, but they're not going to get value if there was, say, a Peyton Manning there. I'm not saying they're not going to get. It's not going to be like that. They're still
right.
They're going to get something.
You'd rather have the first pick than the second, but they're probably not going to get like a boatload.
But there's always one team. There's always one general manager that falls in love with one guy, and it's like, we have to get that.
But here's my thing. Let's say you're the Colts at 4 or whatever, or the Texans at 2. Like, if you think one of those guys is clearly the best, you can't take the chance that somebody else takes him.
No. Right.
Like, you got to get him. Like, you got to get that guy.
Which we got to stir this up. Can we rewind back real quick to the Super Bowl? Are you picking the Eagles?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm nervous about it because I think it'll be a close game. And in a close game, we've all seen Mahomes make the critical play to win the game a million times. Hurts hasn't had to do that. I mean, the Eagles usually just dominate people, but I can't not pick the team with the best O-line in the league and the best D-line in the league.
I
That would
It's a
go
hard
against
gap.
everything I grew up about. And usually if you go back, like you look at other Super Bowls, the MVP never wins. Kurt Warner, 99, is the last MVP to win the Super Bowl. Wow. So like, even though Mahomes is the best player, I think by a lot, they usually don't get it done. It's usually the better team beats the best player.
That's interesting. What's the number one thing the Bears can learn from Jalen Hurts' development for Fields?
Building up the team around him, in particular the line. It's the number one thing. But like they got A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
They got the line. I mean, I think building up the team around him as much as you possibly can. And then RPO them to death. I mean, they RPO teams to death. And I think that is a good formula for Justin as well.
That makes a lot of sense.
RPOs.
I mean, 4 wins to 500 team to now consensus best team in the NFL. Did you have any idea coming into this season they were going to be here?
No, I mean, I thought they'd win double digits, make the playoffs. Nobody thought Hurts would be an MVP candidate.
Okay.
He was not even a top 20 quarterback last year. He's probably like 22nd best quarterback. Nobody thought he'd be one of the 4 guys for MVP tomorrow night.
So and you don't look at him like down the line as a passenger on the Eagles cruise ship. You look at him more sort of closer to driving it. I mean, where would you put him in?
It's a fair question. Like, I don't know if he's driving it or passenger. Like, he's doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I know this. He's doing it. Now, it'll be harder next year because they're going to pay him. They're going to lose a bunch of free agents, so it'll be harder for him next year. But he hasn't turned the football over. He's an unbelievable runner, and he's made the throws. I mean, A.J. Brown set the franchise record for receiving yards. Devontae Smith set the franchise record for catches. It's pretty good, right? But also, those 2 guys are both studs. Like, meanwhile, you guys are out trading the 32nd pick for Claypool. Get it together, Adam. I got to go, by the way. I got to go.
I know you got to go.
Together.
Don't worry, we all agree with you on that one. It's been a topic of discussion.
We shouldn't do the Devontae before he leaves with my excellent take. Shouldn't he have felt bad that he didn't catch the football rather than try to sell it? He should have told the sir referee, I didn't catch that. That was on 4th down. Let's turn it over. Let's have some integrity in our football, Ross.
I know a lot of people from Chicago. Not a single one of them would have done what you just said.
That's a great response.
So full of it.
You can
my buddy Timmy Legui from the South Side. No chance. No chance. Shout out, Timmy.
It's my utopian world that could come to Chicago too someday.
See you guys.
Thanks, Ross. Appreciate it. Ross Tucker, he's the best. And obviously, that was the perfect response to your ridiculous take.
Nobody in Chicago would do it. Hey, I know some people in Chicago that would do that. Not many, but there's got to be one out there.
Turn on your computer and tell us about game time.
Okay, I can do that.
You could probably do that without.
I do not need the ad. But I can also tell you that, yes, Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site. Makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets and sports and concerts and shows. Welcome in our next guest, please. Ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could? 50-yard line, courtside, behind all plate, floor seats at a concert. It is possible with the Game Time app. 15 million people have downloaded the Game Time app, which I am pulling up right now on my phone to give you the best value coming up here with, let me just see what pops up as my best value right now on Game Time, as the Wi-Fi here is slightly challenging. If you love CHGO, you're going to love
the Wi-Fi's been horrible today.
The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. And okay, we got a little Blackhawks with the Coyotes Friday. We got a flash deal going on right now. You can sit in a beautiful upper tank 300 level seat for $65 in the corner. Probably gets a lot cheaper as we get closer to game time. Ticket prices go down. Best value on the internet in the secondary market. Game Time tickets.
All right, time for our next guest, Chicagoan. At least originally. Jessica Smetana, Dan Le Batard show, Golick and Smetty, right? Is that how you?
Golick and Smetty, yep, that's it. Ross Tucker has a huge head, by the way.
Yeah, we you know what's funny? Our first guest today was Geoff Schwartz.
Also
okay.
a big head.
And then Eric Kramer came in and he was like,
Smaller
oh my
head.
God, how big was his head? And then Ross Tucker comes in, he's got to expand it again,
Massive head,
and now you're here.
Smaller head.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you for being
Slightly
here.
smaller.
I
was only in the NFL for 1 season, so.
I have a huge man crush on Stu Gatz.
Really?
I do.
Well, he's here.
I
Have
know.
you had him on yet?
No, I want to find him.
Oh, because his daughter goes to Northwestern, so
Does he?
he's got a Chicago connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he as nice when you're like not doing the radio as he is like as funny as he's on the radio?
He's the exact same. He will promise you something and then not follow through. Just the same as on air as off air.
I respect that.
I heard he was interviewing the media that was in line for the Fox Media Day yesterday.
Yeah.
It sounded like a good.
Full of good bits.
Yeah.
That's Stugatz for you.
We'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
So people should be following you on social media, which, I mean, I already do, and you're a big Notre Dame fan too. But at Jessica_Smetana, and because you're hilarious on social media. So you're originally from Chicago, but you're not really a big Bears fan. Is that right?
I have been mocked and ridiculed my entire life for not being a Bears fan.
Okay.
So I grew up just outside of Chicago.
Is this why you're wearing green?
The green's a Notre Dame thing.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
I'm not a Packers fan. I'm not going to say that. That would be absurd if I came on the show and said that. No, I grew up outside of Chicago. My mom was from Pittsburgh. So I was kind of like forced into Steeler fandom early on, and in high school I used to get made fun of all the time because the Bears and the Steelers were only going to play like once every 3 years, and they played when I was like a sophomore in high school, and the Bears won. And I think they won 3 years after that too. Like the Bears and the Steelers regular season, the Bears have come out on top a lot recently.
They really have. Yeah.
Other than the game last year that there was that penalty in Monday Night Football.
Oh, that stupid taunting thing.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it.
Else.
But I got made fun of for being not a Bears fan, even though the Steelers were way better as a team. They won the Super Bowl in 2009. But like 5 years ago, the Steelers kind of were on a downward trajectory, and the Bears were like actually good for once. So I decided I was going to just kind of pretend to be a Bears fan for a while, and it stuck. So I do enjoy the Bears, but kind of as a bit.
You know what's funny? You're bringing up that game.
Well, it's a good bit.
I mean, I can kind of jump on the bandwagon and pretend like it's,
There's not much to jump on there, but
that's exactly right.
The Steeler game last year is actually interesting because that was the one in the disastrous rookie season that Justin Fields experienced. He played really well in that game, and it was Monday Night Football.
The Bears should have won that game.
They should. You got to admit the taunting penalty was ridiculous.
It was absolutely ridiculous, but I was quietly cackling to myself as I watched it in bed because it was like midnight when that game finally ended.
Just the logic of the NFL referees being like, journeyman edge rusher. This was Cassius Marsh, who probably most people have never heard of.
Yeah. Nope.
You're going to make the biggest play of your career on Monday Night Football, and you're not allowed to celebrate it.
Right.
And if you do, we're going to throw a penalty, and your team's going to lose. Just the logic involved in that is so ridiculous. And to the NFL's credit, I don't know if you guys noticed this, they really don't call taunting anymore. They really haven't this year that much.
I think they did say taunting penalties were down this year, but is that because fewer players taunted because they know they're going to call it now? I don't know. I think it's kind of a soft rule. Like you should be. It's an entertainment.
It's football.
It's entertainment.
Yeah,
it should be fun, and you should be allowed to celebrate when you make a big play.
Let's make you commissioner for a day, and you could change one rule in the NFL or do anything to make the league better in any way, shape, or form. This is a little put you on the spot, perhaps question you weren't expecting, but I'm just giving you full anything you would want to do for the league to make it more appealing for you.
I mean, it would probably be something along the lines of like let's do some more smack talk. Let's do some more celebrations. I know they finally changed the celebration rule like 4 years ago, and I think it made it a more enjoyable product. But I think it just should be a little bit more fun. Like it's not the most serious thing all the time, right?
Yeah, we're here for some entertainment. Let's go.
Sports. Exactly. Let's laugh at each other.
Jessica, what was the Mitch Trubisky experience like as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? We know what it was like in Chicago.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was not great. I think to start out the season, the Steelers weren't ready to play Kenny Pickett yet. By the time Kenny Pickett started playing, he was. I think it was the right time, but I mean, it was a painful few games with Mitch. But then Kenny Pickett got 2 concussions this season, so Mitch came back and he had to play. And he did lead a game-winning drive, I believe, against the Saints, I want to say. I can't even remember which game it was. So it was, pretty much what you expected. It was a roller coaster. There were times where it was frustrating. There were times where he completed a pass, and I was like, oh, my God, that was awesome. Thank you, Mitch. But it was a lot like being a Mitch Trubisky fan when he was on the Bears. It was a little up and down. He shows flashes, and then their offense struggled to move the ball at all for entire quarters of games.
There were Bears fans that thought he was going to go to Pittsburgh and turn into Joe Montana, which did not happen.
There were?
Were there? Yeah.
There was like 6 Bears fans who believed that the Bears just completely.
I got a lot of taunting, to take it back to taunting, a lot of taunting texts from Bears fans, like, have fun with that.
Yeah.
But the Steelers just needed someone to fill the role for a few games.
It was a good opportunity for Mitch. We like Mitch. We just don't think
here's the thing, though, that there is a possibility. I think we all need to be prepared for the possibility that the Mitch Trubisky pick instead of Patrick Mahomes goes down as the worst sports decision in the history of sports. If Patrick Mahomes goes on like through his career and like ends up winning even just like 4 Super Bowls and is as good as he already is and he keeps that going, which he probably will at this point.
Can I say something controversial, though? Would Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes if the Bears drafted him?
That's always the counterpoint. It's a fair point.
Yes.
I think we've gotten to the point, though,
I
with
don't know.
Mahomes. I know, but we've got
he's a transcendent talent, but the Bears are really good at wasting transcendent talents.
Yeah. See, when Mitch was still in Chicago, I would say that and believe it. I'd be like, look, Mahomes wouldn't have been this good. Look at what Mitch is dealing with.
Yeah.
And all. But now that you see Mahomes like this consistently great, I think he would have figured it out.
Well, he also would have probably had to play his rookie season, right? And that was a really big development year for him, playing behind Alex Smith.
Yep.
That's fair. I guess my counter would be just in general. The Chiefs were never an organization known for having quarterbacks, and then he got there, and all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl every year.
I think it was, no matter what, it will go down as, even if he was a decent quarterback for the Bears, like above average but not Patrick Mahomes level talent, it will go down as a terrible pick just for the sole fact that we all knew as soon as it happened when the Bears traded up, this was like, there was not a single person that was like, oh, this will work out. This was the right move, right? It was instantaneous.
It got blasted in Chicago.
Yeah.
Immediately. I defended the logic of the trade, but in doing so was like, you better have the quarterback right, though.
Yeah.
Because like if you make the same trade for Mahomes, it's the greatest move ever. So I never the picks that they traded up never bothered me that much, but it's just the scouting evaluation. You better be damn right about the quarterback though if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So and obviously they weren't.
I hated it from day one.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Steelers got T.J. Watt in that draft, I believe, which was would have been a good pick for the Bears.
It's a good rubbing.
And you're here with DraftKings too, right?
I'm here with DraftKings. Yes, I host a show with Golic and Smetty. Check it out wherever you get your podcast.
Golic is that's just a joy, right? To work with a Golic every day.
It's wonderful. He's the best. I say it's like therapy for me because he has a lot of trouble getting on Zoom. He's not a big technology guy, and it puts me in a good state of mind for when I talk to my parents who still live in Chicago and they can't get onto Zoom because I've already gotten all my frustration out with Golic that week. So when they're being really slow, I'm like, you know what? I already yelled at Golic for this.
Perfect.
I can just take it easy now.
He does it every day. He can't get on Zoom. This is embarrassing.
This is Mike Golic Sr. He struggles with getting on a computer every day. It's the microphone, it's the headphones, it's doing the QuickTime recording, it's everything. Yeah.
All right, well, it's Golic and Smetty, DraftKings. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. Hey, go Bears.
Yep.
Right?
Go
Bears.
Thanks, Jessica.
See, we had other guests say, though, that said it with a little bit more enthusiasm than that.
Wow.
I think that was about as enthusiastic as you're going to say.
That's fair. That's fair.
Go Bears. How's that?
There you go. Thank you so much.
Go The Bear on Hulu. Better than The Bears.
Oh, The Bear.
Oh, I could do a whole. We could do a whole. You want to restart the interview? We could start it all over and do the whole thing on that. It's episode 7 is like the greatest piece of TV ever.
I agree with that. All right, go Bear.
Bye. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Jessica Smetana. We got a couple minutes left here before we got to leave too because we got other shows that need to be here.
Yeah. Well, anything on your mind that you have to do? Because there's one thing I want to do.
No.
Well,
other than take a nap, no.
Well, I just want to remind everybody one more time about Roman, and it's just Valentine's Day is right around the corner here. So, special restaurant that you want to go to. I don't know what you're doing over there, Adam Hogue. Romantic evening at home. What about later in the night? Some say Valentine's Day is the sexiest day of the year, but are you ready? Like Roman ready for it? Yes, strong sex life can deepen your feelings of intimacy with your partner and lead to increased happiness. We could all use some increased happiness. I know I could. Not that I'm the most happy guy ever, just sitting here with you two amazing talented men. Roman addresses a variety of sexual health needs for men, and they also offer the discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. So for this Valentine's Day, to get ready, Roman ready for better sex this Valentine's Day, go to ro.co/CHGO today to get 20% off your entire first order. Order by February the 8th for guaranteed shipping in time for Valentine's Day. That's today. That's ro.co/CHGO. You got to do it today. All
Bam.
right. Thank you.
We've been incredibly guest heavy. Apologize if we didn't, get as many comments in as we normally do. Do we have any super chats before we leave?
We have a super sticker.
Super sticker.
Super sticker.
We obviously can't see it. The chat can see it, but we can describe it. It's a lemon character and baby lemon blowing a party horn while marching.
All right. Is
So
that our
just
first
imagine
super
that.
sticker?
It definitely means
Have
something.
you guys never had a super sticker?
I got to be honest right now. I don't even know what that is.
It pops up in the chat what I just described.
Hogue has this weird thing about him
I'll
where
show
he,
you after.
he just feels comfortable being honest at all times. Like
I
we're-
think honesty's the best way to live life.
I agree. I would just try to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
yeah. Big super sticker guy.
Huge super sticker. That's great. Thank you so much. I don't know what that is.
What is it?
No idea.
I think,
From Steven. Lemon character and baby lemon
That's what I read.
blowing a party. Okay, I'm just.
But in the chat, it is an
can see.
animated.
You could see what that is.
Yes.
Do you have it?
That's, yep. No.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
all right, we got a
Now I
lot.
want some lemon heads.
We need lunch.
Underrated candy.
We got a lot of interviews that we're going to be taping this afternoon, so the show's going to be stacked tomorrow. That's why we're out here. We appreciate everybody checking in today. That was a super fun show.
If
And
you didn't see it, we did an interview with Thomas Dimitrov, the former Falcons GM, as a bonus episode. It's in the YouTube channel. We got pretty in depth with what he thinks the Bears should do with the number 1 pick and how a GM would look at it and look at the value of that contract that people bring up about the rookie contract. So if you want more, I would highly recommend you check that out from yesterday. And if it's not already, it will also be in the podcast feed.
12 years, the general manager of the Atlanta Falcons.
Smart dude.
I mean, legit dude doing it for a long time. That was a fun conversation.
It was.
And there was a wide variety, but if you like nerd football talk, that is right down your alley. He's got some serious a lot of angles on a lot of things. It was fun.
Also, slam that like button before you get off today. Make sure you help support us. We were only at 106 likes. We're crushing it with the people watching live. We got to get the like button up. We appreciate everybody doing that. If you are in the Arizona, Phoenix area, tonight, 7 o'clock, Illegal Pete's. We're going to have a CHGO all-city meetup. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And we started the week with how many subscribers on the YouTube page? It was you wanted to get to 20.
Oh, yeah, we were at 24.4 thousand.
Now we're at 24.6.
Come on, guys, we can get
25.
there. 20.
We're trying to get to 25 by the end of the week, so tell a friend, hey, listen, if you like Chicago Bears content, you like Chicago sports content, you just click on this. These guys are cool. They're trying to make their way. Let's go. Let's help them get to 25K. We appreciate it.
Text them the link. Tell them to hit subscribe. Papa Hogue texted me yesterday and said he did his homework assignment.
He did?
He did. He got an extra subscriber.
Thank you.
Nice,
Thank you,
Papa
Papa Hogue.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. You know this. That's a show, Hogue.
All right, we have 1 million people to thank, so thanks to them all. Jeff Schwartz, Trey Wingo, Kenny Mayne, Eric Kramer. Eric Kramer was a lot of fun to talk to.
I love Eric Kramer.
He got way more in depth with the quarterback discussion than I thought he was going to, like with the analysis and the reads and everything. So if you missed it, go back and watch it. Ross Tucker, Jessica Smetana, and everybody
Schultz
behind
right
the scenes here, Emma, Allie, Ryan coming through with all the photos that are out there on social media. Check out all the social media channels we got.
RG's got a solid jumper. I mean, it comes and goes, but when it's on, and that thing is on, man. We didn't even talk about hoops yesterday. We'll get to that tomorrow. I
Yeah,
guess.
we're going to have to wrap up later in the week, all that fun.
All
It's
right,
on social media. Very disappointed in my jump shot yesterday. It was not clicking.
You hit one from the hot tub. That's all that matters.
That's right. That's right.
First take.
It was the only
Take 3.
Just
wasn't bad.
now is where we don't need to be honest, okay, guys?
Yeah.
It was the
First
first
take.
shot.
Well, it really was like take 7. I'll give you 3. I
Was it
upgraded.
not obvious with the reaction, everybody? All right, we got to go. Other people got to get in here with their shows. We love you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, same time, noon Central. And see you tonight at Illegal Pete's if you're there, 7 o'clock.